Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me at the back? I'm sorry I don't have any $20,000 NFTs to give away in my talk today, but I thank you for being here. Hi, my name is Dan Rollman. I'm the founder and creative director of Diamond Hand Labs, a creative consultancy helping brands and creators in the Web3 space. I'm going to be telling you about Hippie Sushi Chef. My story begins on May 3rd, which was 3 days after the Bored Ape Yacht Club launched. I found somebody on Discord and purchased this ape for 1.1 ETH. So Mike Blazer, if you're out there, thank you very much. I owe you a beer. I maybe even owe you a keg of beer, or someday maybe even a microbrewery. So beyond art and community, what caught my eye about Bored Ape Yacht Club from the get-go was this very unique offering that if you purchased one of the Bored Ape NFTs, it came with ownership and commercial usage rights given to the consumer over their NFT. So what does that mean? It basically means that when you bought an ape, you had complete freedom to do whatever you wanted to figure out how to build intellectual property around your character. They gave that away. They essentially decentralized the intellectual property. And this really caught my mind right away. I started thinking like, okay, I've bought this ape. Now how can I add value to the ape on my own? I'm not waiting for the creators of the project to do it, but what can I do to start building up IP around my character? So with a background in entertainment and media, my first thought was, how can I make my character the next Bart Simpson? So I started talking to people in Los Angeles, producers I know, and said, I've got the next Bart Simpson, and they said, Dan, slow down, no you don't. You really, you can't just go and sell a TV show with a cool looking ape. So then I said, well, what could I do with this character to start adding value and IP on my own, that I didn't have to wait for a green light from any outsiders. So I decided to create a comic strip, an old school 3-panel comic strip. And I'm not an illustrator, I'm not really an artist, I have minimal keynote skills, but I found a bunch of images on Google image search, and this was the first comic strip that I threw together. The extent of my keynote skills is that I managed to flip the ape in the second panel. I was very proud when I figured out how to do that. So I just started creating this comic strip called Hippie Sushi Chef. The name obviously comes from the sushi chef headband and the tie-dye t-shirt. And I put these into the Bored Ape Discord, and I created a Twitter account, Hippie Sushi Chef, and just started having fun. Again, I was just looking to see how I could build a little bit more IP value around this ape that I'd purchased. Then I started thinking like, okay, well the next phase is going to be to turn these comic strips into NFTs. But I was using, as I mentioned, images from Google image search, and I started thinking, well, if this project takes off in any manner, I'm going to at some point get into trouble with using images that I don't own the rights to. Hopefully none of you took the picture of that sushi restaurant. And if you do, I'll buy you a beer or a microbrewery as well. So I said, I'd recently purchased a piece of virtual real estate in a metaverse called CryptoVoxels. Any CryptoVoxels people here? All right, see a few. Kind of an OG metaverse. And I didn't know what I was going to do with the real estate yet. And suddenly I had the aha moment, which is, why don't I move the comic strip into the metaverse? So I looked around on Twitter, and I found a voxel architect, essentially a virtual architect named Avi300, and engaged his company, Voxel Ventures, to build me a virtual sushi restaurant in CryptoVoxels. It's much cooler to go into CryptoVoxels and actually walk around, but this is just kind of a glimpse of what he created, with me kind of serving the role of creative director. You can see the restaurant. There's an upstairs loft where the Hippie Sushi Chef character lives. and I threw some art blocks pieces that I'd collected onto the wall, and then in the comic strip, essentially moved the entire storyline into CryptoVoxels and created what I believe is the first ever comic strip set in the metaverse. You can kind of get a sense here. I also work with somebody to create a 3D voxelized version of the ape. So sometimes people will come in and can engage with this comic strip character within CryptoVoxels. And then here you can start to see some of the other comic strips that I've made that are now set in the metaverse. You might recognize a couple of other characters. These are from the Gutter Cat Gang. Any Gutter Cat Gang people here? All right, somebody. Gang, whoop, whoop. And so this is another NFT project that also gave full commercial rights, just like the Bored Ape Yacht Club. So these are characters NFTs that I had purchased and now have the freedom to integrate within my comic strip. And I'm not the only person who's been using these NFTs to kind of build out the IP. A couple of other examples that I really admire. One is called Jenkins the Valet. This is another ape character who's built an entire community built around storytelling, has done a really successful NFT drop, and is now signed to CAA, which is pretty incredible, and working on kind of a community-driven book project where a best-selling author is going to come in and frame the story with Jenkins the Valet as kind of the primary character. Also, the DJ duo from Europe called Bassjackers created a song called the Bored Ape Rave Club, and then they created a music video which features the apes that they own as well as some other apes that were lent to them for the project. My encouragement to those of you who are either collectors or creators of PFP-type NFTs is to think about what happens and what gets unlocked in a community when there are commercial rights that are given out. If you're a collector, do your research and find out if you have commercial rights to start working with the NFTs that you've acquired, and have fun with it. You know, you own that character now. Figure out, you know, don't sit around and wait for the creators of the project to raise the floor, but figure out fun ways that you can turn your own NFT into its own little micro brand. And then if you're a creator, the spirit of Web3 obviously is about decentralizing everything. So as we've seen with Bored Ape and Gutter Cat, these projects really have escalated in value and visibility by giving the community these tools. So I'm going to end my talk about Bored Ape and Hippie Sushi Chef with my roadmap, because every NFT project needs a roadmap. And lots of people dream about TV shows. I'm still thinking about that, but I kind of have a simple dream, which is someday I would love to simply just make it a comic strip in the Sunday newspaper. So that's my talk about Hippie Sushi Chef. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of the conference.